The Oculus Quest 2. It's sleek, compact and affordable, but should you buy it? In this video we'll be going over the pros and cons of the Oculus Quest 2. First of all, let's look at the biggest strength of the Quest 2 in my opinion, and that is the price tag. It's priced at only £299, which means it's undercutting its competitors by a mile. Consider the Valve headset, which is one of Oculus's biggest competitors. It's priced at around £1,000, so you'd have to save up for months just to afford it, and then you'd be left wondering whether it was really worth the huge amount of money that you'd sunk into the purchase. Whereas with the Oculus, at only £299, you can save for a month or two depending on how much you're earning, or if you're a child, you could ask for it as a birthday or Christmas present without sounding too unreasonable. As well as this, if you live in the UK, you can try getting the Oculus on finance via Argos. This means you could get the Oculus in your house tomorrow, paying only £25 a month with 0% interest. The second strength of the Oculus is the Guardian system. This again gives it an advantage over Valve because Valve uses sensors that you have to set up in order to see where you are in the room, whereas the Oculus allows you to just draw out a virtual boundary and you're good to go. This means that they're able to price it less, and again, there's less faff of setting it up. As well as this, the Guardian system actually does work really well. You'd think it might not, but the virtual cameras within the Oculus know exactly where the Guardian system is. It doesn't move around, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't even freak out if the headset moves out of the Guardian system for a little while and then comes back in. I've even noticed that the Oculus remembers different rooms in the house and what size the Guardian system should be for each room, which is a little bit scary but is also very convenient. The next pro was honestly a contender for one of the strongest pros of the entire console, but just couldn't match the insane price tag. And that is that the Oculus Quest 2 is a standalone console in its own right. Many other headsets require you to connect the headset to a console, such as a PlayStation or a gaming PC if you want to be able to play games on it, which means you have to fork out even more money and you normally need a high internet connection bandwidth in order to do this. However, the Oculus Quest 2 is good to go the moment you get it. It has its own store, you can purchase a game and just launch it without connecting to a PC or console. That being said, if connecting to a PC so you can play better games in VR is your thing, you can still do that with the Oculus Quest 2. Just bear in mind you're going to need a high internet bandwidth if you want to do so. Now, I know I've been going on about the pros of the Oculus for a while and I'm almost done, but the final one I think is quite important, and it's about VR sickness. Because I didn't actually know about this before I bought a VR, and I think a lot of people don't know about it. If you spend a lot of time in VR, but you're not used to spending time in VR at all, you get what's called VR sickness. You can get headaches, feel dizzy, and even feel nauseous, which I had all three of after buying this. However, that was only because I didn't use the Oculus VR sickness prevention system they have in the console. You can drag a slider up or down depending on how much you want to reduce the VR sickness. This can reduce the quality of your play because it blacks out the edges of the screen to stop things like motion blur, but in the long run I would advise using it because it's very helpful for you to be able to play for longer. As well as this, finding your visual sweet spot within the Oculus is fairly easy. The straps for tightening or loosening the headset do not come loose when you leave them, and you can adjust the distance of the lenses from each other to find the perfect distance for you. Now, onto the VR games that are actually available on the Oculus Quest 2. To be completely honest, I was neither wowed nor disappointed by the variety of games on the Oculus. The amount of games available since Oculus Quest 1 has risen dramatically, to be fair, but I still find myself looking for ages on the store before I find a game that's of good quality, and even then, if I had to guess, I'd say there's maybe 100 game max that are actually available on the store. One of the best games I found myself playing was The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. The game puts you in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, and to be honest that'd be enough for me, but it also has a really engaging storyline. But the best features of this game has to be the mechanics. You have to physically bandage yourself up when you get sick, drink food when your stamina runs low, reload your weapons, and each gun has its own unique reloading mechanism that is similar to the real world equivalent. And of course, the most important thing, the zombies. You can bash their brains in, decapitate them, take them out with a well-timed headshot, or my personal favourite, take them out execution style. You can also switch to a wave-based mode called the Trial, where you fight wave after wave of zombies, and that's a great way to hone your skills at the game. Some other great titles I'd like to mention quickly are VR Chat, which allows you to meet with people in virtual bars or parks, etc., and just get to know people online. This is great for lockdown when you might not actually be having a whole lot of social interaction. Another one that's great for lockdown is VR Fitness. This allows you to engage in a wide range of calorie-burning activities without leaving your home. As I said before, you can also connect your Oculus to your PC if you want to play even more games, but again, you're going to need a high internet bandwidth, and the graphics will be worse on the Oculus than they are on the PC. Now, finally, I want to address pretty much the only serious gripe I have with the Oculus, and that is that it's owned by Facebook, and of course comes with a whole range of data problems with that. You have to have a Facebook account if you want to log into your Oculus, and they do collect and sell your data, just like they do with Facebook and also with Instagram, which is actually owned by Facebook if you didn't know. Now, this may not actually be an issue for lots of you that use social media a lot, but for me, it was a massive thing. I don't use social media a lot and I hate the idea of my data being collected. However, it is important to remember that this data collection is likely the reason why the Oculus is priced so low. I doubt they're making any profit on this console at all through the actual sales, and nearly all of their profit margins are coming from the data. So you wouldn't be getting the headset this cheap unless they were collecting and selling your data, which, even though I hate it, is a pretty reasonable trade-off in my opinion. However, this is an important feature to remember when considering buying an Oculus, or where and when you use it. So finally, do I recommend buying the Oculus? Well, I think whether you buy the Oculus or not really comes down to how serious you consider the issue of your data being collected and sold. If you consider the trade-off on the price to be a reasonable one, then you should definitely get the Oculus. And that's why I would personally recommend it. I think being able to get a standalone VR console for only £299 is amazing. I'd like to say it's a once in a generation deal, but probably VRs are only going to get better as we go on, and Valve and Facebook are probably going to keep competing with each other. But even so, it's an amazing deal. It would make an amazing birthday present or a self-gift, especially considering lockdown. You can get in more social interaction, more fitness, and just have fun with a new virtual world. Also, some final points that I did consider important, but not important enough to be a pro or a con. The Oculus Quest 2 has a great free tutorial you can use when you first log into the Quest 2. You learn how to grab objects, move around, interact, and then there's a game where you can dance with a little robot and shoot some shapes with various guns. The Quest 2 is also now officially the smallest VR headset on the market, so it's going to feel way lighter on your head, you're going to be less likely to overheat, and it's easier to transport. As well as this, finally, as you would expect, the specs have increased from the Quest 1. The resolution is higher and it has a more powerful processor, meaning you're going to be able to enjoy games in a crisper and faster resolution than you were before. Anyway, I hope you liked the video and hopefully you found it helpful. I'm still a bit uncomfortable in front of a camera, so I probably looked a little bit rigid, but if you have any suggestions on how I can improve the quality of my videos, please comment them. I reply to each and every one of them, and if you'd like to support the channel, please subscribe as I'm still trying to grow it. Thank you. I'll also be linking the Oculus in the description down below if you would like to buy it.